was at the show.
Tell him what happened.
Oh, well, he did whisper in my ear. He did, not lying, as you wish. And I'm like,
Remember? As you wish.
but he asked me what kind of perfume I was wearing. He goes, "You smell really good." Well, this was at the time that that they weren't allowing large bottles of perfume at the airport. So I had lost 3 really good expensive bottles of perfume there. So I stopped bringing perfume to the airport, and I was traveling with sample sizes. Well, I just grabbed a handful of sample sizes and threw them in my bag. So when he told me I smelled good, I had no idea which one it was. I made a beeline up to my room so fast, and the whole time I'm going up the elevator, I'm like, "Please, Meg, don't have cleaned my room. Don't have gone into the trash can and cleaned my room." And I got in there, and it was Noir by Chanel. And I wear it to this day. I don't actually have it on today, but I normally wear it all the time.
Oh.
And it's all because of him.
Towards Leave It to Beaver, in December, I was down with Mickey Dolenz at a show in Orlando. And at the hotel, we're sitting down there eating. This guy and his wife come over, and I'm like, I had extra chairs there. I go, "Yeah." We're sitting there, and I look over, and that's a beaver. Wait a second. I'm sitting with a beaver? That was pretty awesome. I was like you.
Years ago, there was a play a friend wrote in New Orleans called Child Stars from Hell. And it was a big hit in New Orleans. It was about 7 fictional child stars who were so broke, they'd been really rich, that they were all strung out and had a lot of problems. So they met in a church basement to have therapy because nobody could afford a therapist. And it's a comedy. So at my house, I had these readings. I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to cast it with real child stars? So in my living room, I've got Gary Coleman, Johnny Whitaker, Robbie Rist, oh my God, she got for an Academy Award, the little girl in, oh God, she's...
Tatum O'Neal?
No.
Patty Duke?
No, not Patty.
Jodie Foster?
No, she was back in the day, women, Little Women.
Pamela Ferdin?
No. Black, anyway. But anyway, it was all of these people in my room, in my house, and they're all reading the script, and you forget sometimes these kids were stars because they were really good. Most of them couldn't work afterwards. They didn't age well. They didn't make the transition, as we all know. It's a difficult road. But they had never lost the ability. They were still amazing performers. And I'm listening, and and I got a part, and everybody's reading their part, and I'm like, when it's over, I said, I got to tell you guys something. I can't believe you're in my living room. I can't believe how good you guys are. I said, I cannot believe this is happening. And Johnny Whitaker turns to me, "Oh, Wesley, we used to watch you on TV too. Shut up." Anybody else have a comment or a question they'd like to say?
No, I'll just tell you that it was my Saturday morning growing up, and was HR Puff and stuff, and then Land of the Lost. My mom used to get so annoyed because that was our day to go shopping for school stuff, and it's like she didn't want to wait till it was over. It's like,
right.
She wanted to go 10 o'clock, whatever. Oh, just one more half hour, and then, and then came Sigmund, and then whatever else, and it's like she wasn't.
Kathy, you talk about how wonderful that time was.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to slide this in, but I wanted to say it because, excuse me, it was something that I experienced when we were bringing all this stuff that we brought for the show. Because I was actually with Howard on the drive up, and we're going on the freeway, and I look over, and there's this big old KOA sign from the 50s, this campground sign. And it's taken us a while to go by it, and I started sort of daydreaming, and I thought, I remember when we used to go camping as a kid, and the second we'd get out of whatever vehicle we were in, we'd find the closest kids that were also camping, and then just start playing. And it was that childhood thing that was just instant recognition. You're a kid, I'm a kid, we're gonna go have some fun. And it was this lovely memory that I had, right? And so then I started thinking, you know what? That's what these shows are like. Because if we all had the bond of being from the 70s era, we all ate the same thing, we listened to the same music, we watched the same TV, you know, in the 70s, and there was this real connection where we're now like, there's so many choices and so many options that we've become like separated, you know, but we have this bond, so when we see each other, there is an instant recognition that takes place without even words. It's like, I know damn well you guys are from the 70s. I can tell. You know? I know all of you are. You know,
Well, except for way in the back.
but she tried to be. That young
But
woman. She tried to be. She's a wannabe.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, yes, she does. And so, yeah, that's why it's easy for us to be together, because we share a bond like that, and it was important for me to like say that, because that's really what.
And Saturday morning was our time. I mean, you know, it was our time. We could watch the TV. Our parents would like hopefully be sleeping or whatever, and they'd give us up until like noon.
Yeah, we all had the
11:30.
den.
It was like
We had
sacred.
the
It was
den.
sacred.
It was
Yeah.
sacred, absolutely.
Kids time.
And I know when Land of the Lost came out, I heard from
Shag carpet and cereal.
cereal bowls, yeah.
Exactly.
But we know that people had slumber parties in anticipation of the first episode of Land of the Lost. There were whole groups of kids that saw the trailers, the Saturday morning, you know, shows that were coming on, and people, especially boys, they were going nuts for the dinosaurs. You know, they were all hanging out, and then of course Kathy came on, and Kathy's character, I think, was probably one of the first female role models for girls. Because she wasn't a helpless little girl. She actually she saved us. She was instrumental in many episodes of being the leader.
She was a problem solver.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you did a show with some of the great ladies.
Oh, it was so funny. They were all like the sex kittens of sci-fi, you know, and then there's me. With my 12-year-old body, still today. And I didn't have like a sexy outfit that these girls all wore from like Star Trek, and you know, this is all the main head women of the sci-fi world. And anyway.
Well, we all had a crush on you, all the guys.
But you know what? I had the pre-teenagers, you know, the guys that like me that come up still to this day and say, I had the biggest crush on you when I was a little boy. They didn't know why they liked me. Like by the time Marsha Brady, you know, came along, like if you liked her, you knew why you liked her. You know, you already knew what having a crush was, you know, really all about. But me, you didn't know whether you wanted to punch me, ride a bike with me, climb a tree with me, or kiss me. You know, you had no idea all these hormones were racing. So that seems to be the crowd I got.
Are you a sort of a tomboy like Holly seemed to be? Like, because I knew you were. I heard that you grew up sort of in a more rural
I'm a
area of
dichotomy.
California.
My whole life has just been a dichotomy. It's like, you know, one minute I'm on the 25-cent bus and the next minute I'm in a limousine. But as far as me personally, tomboyish, like I'm very athletic. I was a gymnast, I rode horses, I could swim, I do all kinds of sports. But on the flip side of the coin, extremely feminine. I love all the girly stuff.
Kathy was a surfer. She used to break horses, wild horses, riding them into the ocean so they couldn't buck.
Oh.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, that prepared her to ride dinosaurs.
Anybody? Yes, please.
Y'all are awesome. And if you haven't read Kathy's book, you should definitely read Kathy's book. But since we're in Detroit, maybe you could talk a little bit about Phil Laimbeer.
Oh my God. Well, you guys know Bill Laimbeer, right? The Detroit Pistons, the bad boy. Oh boy, is he. So we got message. We were at the Star Trek convention, Kathy and I, and he was coaching the Aces, the women's basketball team, and in Vegas. And they made an arrangement without him knowing that we were going to come and surprise him and we had some gifts for him and things like that. But they let the women in the basketball team at the Aces know that we were coming and had 8x10s of a Sleestak, right? They had. He didn't know we were coming, so he's coaching. They're hiding their 8x10s. We walk in, and the girls go like this above their face. It's all Sleestak heads. He's looking around. You know, he's this tall. He's 7 feet
He's
tall.
at least 6'10".
Yeah, he's almost 7. And he's looking around like, "Rawr, rawr, rawr." He's a kind of a snarler, you know. And walk in, he doesn't, because we don't quite look like we used to. But we had a Sleestak head and stuff. He finally realized what's going on. Like, "Rawr, so the news people were there and all that stuff, and we did photos and did interviews. We gave him some signed stuff that we had, some presents for him. And he's gonna go, I gotta go coach. So he left. And so the head of the league comes up to us and says, to Kathy and I, says, listen, I've known Laimbeer since he played college ball. I have never seen him smile this much. So it was a wonderful reunion. And Troy Communion, oh, there's Troy right there. Troy Communion put together a few years ago the one and only Land of the Lost reunion show. It was all Land of the Lost. Spencer Milligan was there. And he brought 3 of the original, other than Bill Laimbeer, who wanted $60,000 to show up. Brought 3 of the original Sleestaks together with the cast, and Ta and Sa, Joe Giamalva, and
Sharon Barrett.
And
Baird.
Ron Masak.
Ron Masak, who is the guy that flew in and the parachutist and stuff like that. But it was all because of Troy Communion, who is an amazing guy in Milwaukee, and he has a memorabilia auction house, which is unbelievable. His collection is extraordinary. Anyway, but he put us all together, and that was the only time we've all been together, that one time.
Somebody though here that I met at our table said that they know Bill Laimbeer. And maybe, you know who I think it was? The Santa Claus guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said that he knew him, and he said that he actually gets a little more excited about it when people talk about that aspect of his career, you know, and so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These guys were basketball players. They were making a few extra bucks. They were, they were tall and thin, and there were only 3 outfits for Land of the Lost. So, so as you guys, I'm sure, probably knew that and stuff. And there's, I think, 2 of them survived. There's the Enoch one was just redone. Kier, a guy named Kier, totally $16,000 to restore it. It is spectacular. It looks absolutely original with the tunic and the jewels and stuff. We did chiller, all 3 of us did chiller with it. And I know Marty Croft did. Of course, Marty just passed away, but he had one in his office, and so.
And Caesar has one.
See,
The dog whisperer.
Caesar.
Caesar Malone.
Malone. Yeah, he's got a picture with the Sleestak. And everybody
Just
asked
real quickly,
Yeah.
can Jack, who is our Sleestak, do you want to say something about what it was like when you
Oh, that's ugly. Oh, put it back on. You should have warned us.
Sorry, I was smelling my own breath for this long. Sorry to blast my eyes.
just your quick story about how you became a part of all this.
Yeah,
Starting
absolutely.
at Star Trek.
Yeah, 8 years ago at the Star Trek convention, I had gone for Star Trek. I didn't know Land of the Lost was going to be there, and I'm walking around in my Captain Kirk costume, and I hear Wesley singing the song, and I was like, well, that's odd. I'm at the Star Trek convention. I come around and I see the table, I see them, and I must have circled that table 8 times. How do I approach this and not sound like a lunatic? How do I go up to my childhood heroes and not completely lose my mind? So I get up there and I practice, I played it cool, and I get up. Wesley was talking to someone, so I talked to Kathleen. I said, I know it's a TV show, but I loved it. You're my hero, and everybody here is so fantastic. And I just lost all the cool I had collected. I was laughing them 7 times. Got my autograph, took some pictures, and left with a wonderful memory. 7 years after that, Kathleen was in Albuquerque doing a convention, and I went down there, and it was right at COVID.
I gave you your hug in Vegas.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and then at the end, Kathy gives me this great big hug, and I'm like, I'm hugging, Holly Marshall. Oh my God! And then she says, Wesley, come over and give him a hug. And I was like, I'm gonna get a hug from my childhood hero, and I'm like, is this okay? I said that out loud. I'm like, is this okay? Like I'm approaching some small child. Is it okay if I give you a hug? Got the hug, and then left happy as could be. Had my autograph, super excited. And then 7 years later, Kathy came to Albuquerque, and it was during COVID, or right around the COVID time. And I went up and I said, hey, Albuquerque's kind of a rough town. Your hotel's across the street. I'd love to walk you across the street. We had dinner at the hotel. And then I went to Seattle, and that's where I met Phil and Wesley in Seattle at a private meet and greet, and then just slowly kind of made them accept me into their lives, whether they wanted to or not.
And Howard?
yes, Howard, reveal yourself.
So it was about 16 or 17, 2016, 2017. I met them up at Chicago, Des Plaines. It was an all-night flea market, not all day, all night. 3 in the afternoon till 3 in the morning.
That's Mike.
Greg Valentine was there. Who else was there?
Just some wrestlers
Yeah,
and
there were some
stuff.
wrestlers there.
Butch Patrick.
Butch Patrick was there. We made our rounds there. That was the first time I met him. The second time,
You also did laps around.
we did. A little
Before
bit at
you
a time.
got the courage.
Got a little overwhelmed.
But he brought us lunch boxes and games and all sorts of stuff.
The lunch box that was actually all signed was actually mine. That was all signed by the cast. That Jack actually has now. I didn't even know him then. But slowly, we just kept, I was like, Jack, one of these guys just keeps showing up and won't go away. And I was in Danville, Virginia, and Phil was the first one I see. He looks up, he goes, oh shit, Howard. And slowly, and since Troy had the convention up there where he brought all of them together, Chris Miller, we've all started to become friends, meeting up after the cons, talking on the phone, chatting on Facebook. We got together, started putting all these props together. I bought a Sinclair dinosaur, which you see, painted in gray. And she said, well, if you're gonna get a dinosaur, you're gonna have to build me a wagon. So we built the wagon, we put the pylon together, and it's just been a very close camaraderie of all these fans that we all became friends with, and we all became family.
Yeah, we did.
We're not friends, we have all become
Yeah.
family. And it's the best childhood memory you'll ever have. For most kids,
it's extraordinary, these gentlemen that show up, and Marcia, they just got married, by the way. This is a newlywed couple. She married
We have a Mrs. Sleestaks.
Yeah, I said to Marcia, are you sure you want to do this with this? Really?
I did.
She did. And we have, Kathy goes and stays with her family. She's traveled with Jack. Howard actually drove Kathy across country when she moved from the East Coast, from different places. Howard's a truck driver and has taken very good care of all of us and all the fans. Anyway, we owe you a lot, Howard. Thank you.
And a big thank you to all of you guys for showing up for us, you know.
He's still accepting wedding gifts, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Anybody else have any questions? Yes, please.
A little gift for you. I went to the Milwaukee convention with one of my buddies, and this is my grandson. Your show transcends generations. So you mentioned the faces. He drew this picture, and that's him.
very good.
Well, thank you so much.
That's cool.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Love the show. It was fun.
How old is he?
He's 11 now.
11.
Yeah.
Well, he's
What's
got
that,
you beat back there.
Are we all good if we're wrapping
Wait,
up?
do you have
Speaking of the cross lot, did you get to work with Billy Hayes? Any of you?
Not work like,
Winchie Pooh and
but she was around.
Weenie the Genie and
Yeah.
She was around.
she
Yeah, visited the set.
Yeah.
Is she okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just seemed like such a great soul and
She was great. Kay Ballard became a good friend of mine. You guys remember Kay Ballard?
mothers-in-law, yeah.
Yeah, so I live in Palm Springs. Kathy lives now in Palm Springs. And Kay was one of my best friends in Palm Springs. And she did a going out of business sale. It was her last concert at a theater in Palm Springs. And Witchy Poo shows up. They were great friends and could not have been sweeter. And Billy Barty used to, I had a place in Burbank, and at the corner was his Little People organization building, like literally a half block from my house. So I saw Billy a lot.
Oh, great, yeah.
Back in the day. Anybody, one more? We got one time for one more? Yeah.
Quick question. So there were 3 episodes where at the end you had musical numbers where you sang. And I'm wondering if the Crofts had any plans for that or for you as far as singing.
Well, this is going to sound weird. I was recording for Motown. Yes, me. with Mike Curb, who Kathy was a Mike Curb congregation when Kathy was a little girl. But there were 3 boys, and it was a boy band. Obviously didn't work out, but then I opened for Bill Cosby, and I used to open headline Harris in Vegas and in Tahoe and stuff like that, singing and dancing and stuff. But no, I don't think they ever had any real plans, you know. They had just Wesley when I first started, as you guys know, because my manager thought it was back in the '70s, like Cher, and I was recording at Motown, and so that was the worst decision ever, by the way. So, but that was it. So, but thank you for the question. Yeah.
So we started with the song.
Oh, the
We're
closing
done now,
song.
right?
There we
So we
go.
need to exit with the song.
Do you guys know? You know the closing. Well, that way, one more song before. What's the song? Remember the 3rd season we lost our dad. I had to go back in it and re-record the theme song.
Will and Holly
Marshall,
Marshall,
as the earth beneath them trembled, lost their father through the door of time. Uncle Jack was searching and found the kids at last, looking for a way to escape from the land of the lost. And now the closing song, which is my favorite. When I look all around, I can't believe the things I found. Now I need to find my way. I'm lost, find me living in the land of the lost, living in the land of the lost. Sid and Marty Croft. Thank you guys.